All right, welcome from the Benin Network studio and live here at our Lagos studio. My name is Daniel Praise Osadebame. Now, away from the immigration issue affecting over 39,000 Nigerians, here in our Lagos Network Center, we're going to be looking at the Nigerian-China currency swap agreement. We're going to be exploring the opportunities, the challenges, and the future of the bilateral trade. Just as a brief introduction, Nigeria in 2024 and China, they renewed their currency swap agreement to enhance trade and investment by enhancing transactions in Naira and Yuan instead of the US dollar, with a value of 15 billion Yuan, approximately $2 million. Now, this is going to affect our economy in a way and strengthen our relationship. However, the challenges from the past, including trade imbalance and limited UN accessibility, remain concerns. Today, we are going to discuss the implications of this deal and the lessons learned from its past implementation, the opportunities it presents to Nigeria's economy. To help us make sense of this, we have a global affairs expert who is joining us live from the United States. He's in person of Dr. Engineer Kenua Obaseki. Good morning, Dr. Obaseki, and Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for always coming through. Now, can you help us make sense? What is the Nigerian-China currency swap agreement, and why is it significant for both countries?
Oh, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I can't praise Tinubu enough. I was one of his critics when he first won the presidency and then removed that subsidy that almost ruined Nigeria. But now he's on track. This currency swap, at least it will bring some sanity into these monetary systems. Is going to help Nigeria. This might be a beginning of industrial takeoff if properly managed. I would like to applaud him. Yes, it's in the right direction. This is almost like what we call trade by barter, and things are on track. Let me use that word. This may be one of his legacy, something that will really trigger Nigeria industrialization, which myself have been advocating for a very long time. My agric and industrial roadmap, at least the industrial roadmap is handling it. But let's just wait and see how everything unfolds.
Okay, while we wait and see how everything unfolds, Dr. Basaki, how does this agreement impact bilateral trade and investment between Nigeria and China, owing to the fact that we are a consumer nation? We consume a lot and we don't really produce in a way.
Yeah, that is the detrimental effect that you just mentioned. Consumer. We don't want to be a consumer. With this kind of bilateral, this currency swap, I expect President Tinubu now to put a structure in place, industrialization structure, call the academicians and all the experts, put them together to how we can really map, design Nigeria so that Nigeria can take off industrially. You see, there are so many geniuses in Nigeria, those who would like to build industries to hire people, but the technology to establish that is not there. And China has everything. China has everything. So instead of calling China to construct our roads or build this industry for us, let our citizens build the industry with the help of China. That is, yes.
Okay, now, this is not the first time we're having this agreement. In 2018, the currency swap was agreed on, but to an extent, some persons felt it was underutilized in 2018. away from 2018, in 2019 there was an agreement again. This is like a renewed agreement again for the
Mm.
yuan and naira swap. We are a nation that depend solidly on the dollars in almost all our trades. Now diverting our attention from dollars to yuan, which in a way globally is a currency that is not even among the first two top currencies in the world. How are we going to strike a balance and benefit from this current renewed swap?
We can. I mean, it depends on the management, like I said. The management is the key. And it probably failed in 2018 because it was not properly managed. It seems President Tinubu knows what he wants, and he's a little bit, let me use the word, a little bit focused because until we start getting results, you cannot just give him 100%, but he's on the right track. At least this yo-yo exchange rate will be fixed. You know, when you are talking with swap, the interest rate is kind of fixed. It's fixed. At least you know what you are going to get. You start a project. Okay, I'm going to spend 10 million naira, to establish this. And before the project ends, if it goes to 1 billion naira, that is a yo-yo economy, meaning the interest rate is changing. 1980, 2023, when Tinubu came on board, the exchange rate with dollar was somewhere around 550 or 500. And
And
then
it went up.
within a year, it went to 1900, 1900. I mean, I recall the money I had in the bank at that time just kind of fell. I was um, I was kind of regretting for even exchanging my money and just putting it in the bank. I could have held on to my dollar and then change it. So the money was devalued by one third because I changed it. But with this currency swap, the interest rate is fixed, which is good.
Okay,
But what
yeah.
I would advise people to do is to put a structure in place so that our youth and industrially they can take advantage of
Now,
the technology that exists in China.
okay.
Like I said, it's almost like a trade by barter. If you don't take advantage of it, then it's just as good on paper.
Okay, let's look at the challenges. Addressing some of these challenges, how will the government ensure the availability of UN for businesses and traders in Nigeria? Now, owing to the fact that this is not a currency that we
Mm.
are used to in a way. I mean, if you see a China currency and a US dollar, an average Nigeria, we want to rush for the US dollar. So this is a currency that is not, we are not familiar with in our business terrain. How is this going to help us?
Well, with this swap, you see, once you lock onto China, just stop thinking about dollars now. You are now thinking about yuan and how it relates to what you are trying to build in Nigeria. For example, the foundry, co-generation plant, food industry, building industry. So it's endless. The list is endless. So, and I will encourage our citizens, especially the Edo people. I know the Igbos, they are very good at it. With Igbos, they will benefit from this a lot because they are into manufacturing. Way back, we used to say Abananya, Abananya, meaning that the Aba people, they don't produce quality goods. But with availability of technology, they can improve on their products. You see, before I retire from General Motors, and a friend of mine was the chief metallurgist, and he was invited to China 13 foundries. He was supposed to visit 13 foundries. He, after visiting three or four, he was overwhelmed, and his report was that they have advanced. So we can take advantage. We can build like small scale industry, not like Ajaokuta, like Mahatma Gandhi would say, the small is beautiful. You build around small scale industries that would employ the millions of youths that are unemployed, especially those are marginates in the north. Is that not what is fueling this insurgency, Boko Haram? Unemployed. The one lunatic with ideology, he has a pool of angry youth to recruit from. That's what's happening. He is in the right direction. Uh, Tinubu is in the right direction,
Okay.
and but the implementation and the management is what we have to worry about.
Now, still talking about the implementation and the direction, what can Nigerians implement so that we can have a kind of balance, looking at the significant gap between our export values? You will agree with me that we import a whole lot of things from China. We import a whole lot of things from them. To an extent, they get the raw materials from here and go back to their country to produce these raw materials and bring them back as an imported goods. How can we strike a balance so that as we are exporting, some as they are coming to export raw materials to go produce so many things, we in a way we are also getting a kind of profit from the swap?
Yeah. If I have to advise President Tinubu, I will advise him to adopt late Ugbemudia's strategy for addressing all this kind of problem. You know, if if I were Tinubu, I would request for Agbede kind of farm from the 36 states, massively produce plant cassava and yam and ship them to China. Ship them to China. You will let's not use billions, okay? You will be able to balance the trade because
Okay.
they need our agri produce. They do. Do you know right now they are selling amala, pounded yam, Nigerian food in China? Just imagine, visualize 1 point something billion people, now can eat your food. What does that mean? You produce more. It doesn't have to be oil. It doesn't have to be oil, petroleum, you know. Yeah, just yam and those produce that you can get easily. It
O-
doesn't require technology to grow yam or to grow cassava.
Okay,
That's
definitely.
that's where
Definitely.
management comes in.
Okay, now,
We say balance.
yes,
You'll be able to balance.
okay.
Go ahead.
How does the currency swap agreement aim to reduce Nigeria's dependency on the US dollar? Because like I said, though you said we should not focus on the US dollars, but to an extent, we have over depending on the US dollar for a while. So how can this help us shift our attention from the United States dollars?
Well, like I said, if you are dealing with China, just think you want. Well, then again, it's a good development because this will now force the US to want to lure Nigeria to their side and then begin to give a lot of incentive that will also help us. But whether we are dealing with China or dealing with America, it depends on the management. Management. How do you how do you take advantage of the new opportunities. There are so many. Remember, Nigeria is grossly underdeveloped. Let me use that word. That's why our youth they don't have job. They don't have anything to work. I mean, just take the auto industry for example. There's nothing that stops Nigeria from calling once is it to in Wosu that is producing vehicle to for them to expand all over the country. As the saying goes, for every four jobs, one is auto related, and transportation is a major industry. So, and is grossly underdeveloped.
Now, away from the major industries, what benefit does this agreement offer to small and medium enterprises in Nigeria? What benefit does it hold for them?
A lot, because it gives them access to Chinese technology, and also they can produce their. I mean, they can have their produce market them in China.
Mm.
That it doesn't have to go one way. Like Chinese, they dump their products in Nigeria. Yeah, you go and dump your products in China.
Okay.
You see, as long as you have the technology, you can produce some of them.
Okay.
You know,
We are due
and it
for a
will
break
even be
now.
at
Yeah.
a cheaper rate.
Okay. Quickly land on your thought, Dr. Baseki. Have you landed on
Mm,
your thought?
mm.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay, let's go for a break. And when we return back, we'll be looking at how the currency swap agreement will help us stabilize our naira in the foreign reserve. We'll be back just after this time out. Welcome back from that break. If you're just joining, it's this morning on ITV, reaching you live from our network studios. From our Lagos Network Center, we are discussing the Nigerian-China currency swap and how it's going to help us move our economy forward. Just recently, the president renewed the agreement for the currency swap with the Chinese government. We still have our guest with us all the way from the United States, Dr. Kenua Obaseki, who is helping us make sense of the conversation. Thank you very much, Dr. Obaseki, for staying with us.
thank you again.
All right, moving on now. The currency swap agreement, how can it help to stabilize the naira in the foreign market exchange?
It will. It will because depending on the agreement, the interest rate,
Mm,
the interest rate, I believe, I don't know what the interest rate is or what they agree it to be, but it is good if you have a constant, or I mean a relatively not a yo-yo interest rate that is going to affect the development of any product. Say if you are, say for example, you are a producer, you budget 10 million naira for a product, and while you are producing that product, the next day the prices of the commodities they change, or triple, and now you have to spend about uh, say 50 million naira instead of 10 million naira. That is not a stable. It's not going to help you,
mm,
and you might abandon the project along the way. But with this kind of swap and a fixed interest rate, yes, it helps the naira. It helps the naira as far as dealing with China is concerned. That has nothing to do with the dollar, or now trading with the America or Europe. I- I- when you talk of euro or pounds or France,
okay.
you are just dealing with China,
Mm. Still
and
talking
it's a good
about
swap.
So just talking about dealing with China directly, what step must the Central Bank of Nigeria take to ensure the successful implementation of this agreement? Owing to the fact that while we still have deals with the United States dollars, part of the challenges we had or experienced was holding of this currency. Some persons were doing every transaction in dollars. You know, it got to a point that the forex market was not really what it's supposed to be. The presidency, led by the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had to allow it to flow. It was from the free flow of the market that actually ventilated it in a way. How can the central bank put some policies in place to ensure that people don't abuse this while we are furthering with the swap in a way?
You need experts, economy experts, to deal with that. I mean, it's not as simple as it looks. Yes, like I said, if it is not well managed, it can boomerang and then be a form of regret. But otherwise, it's a good development. Those are the the details the central bank has to work out.
Okay. Now, finally, Dr. Obaseki, before we let you go and connect to our Abuja network studio, some analysts are of the opinion that Nigerian government is not really benefiting in a way from this swap, owing to the fact that for everything we do in the country, we need the Chinese to construct our railways. We need the Chinese to import railways. We need the Chinese even to construct the railway lines. The Chinese are involved in most of the things we do. Almost all our electronics that we use and appliances and devices we use in the country currently, everyone is going towards the direction of China-made products. Now, we don't really have what we are producing and giving them. They only come here, take raw materials, return back to their countries, to their country, produce this raw material, turn them into finished products, and bring it back to us. In a way, do you agree with these persons that are saying we are not benefiting in a way with the swap? And a very renowned senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, he actually said he's not really in agreement with this swap. What is your take? And that will be the final note on the program.
I disagree and I agree. Let me use the word disagree and agree. If you are not producing, then yes, I agree with Femi Falana. But if you are producing, this is the challenge I mentioned earlier on. That now, for this to be successful, you should put a structure and a team in place. How to this can lead to an industrial takeoff. There are a lot of intelligent, I mean smart Nigerians who would like to produce and take advantage of this kind of swap. Acquire those technologies. Don't invite China to come and build roads, to come and build this, do that. No, you don't want them to do that. You want them to give you the technology with which you can use in building.
We sincerely appreciate you, Dr. Kenwa Obaseki, for your time. Thank you very much for always coming through on our program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, this is how far we can go from our Lagos studio. But before we let you go, let's take you through our parting shots from here. Now, set clear goals, stay focused, and take consistent action. Small steps today lead to big achievements tomorrow. This is our parting shot from our Lagos Network Center. My name is Daniel Praise Osedebame. We are leaving you now in the hands of Ikarwata from our Abuja Network Studio.